This is a video showing the window regulator motor gear repair and a window regulator repair on a Discovery 2 for both the front driver and passenger window. The backstory here was I thought the regulator was the broken part, took it out and found out it was actually the gear that is actually connected to the motor. So replaced that. But I also replaced the window regulator itself in the passenger front side. So I've got footage of that and showing what a broken window regulator is for there. Hope this helps. All right, so my luck has finally ran out. Need to replace the window regulator. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So I've already taken the inside door panel off. So now we gotta lower the windows so we can get access to the regulator. All right, here's the part I got. This is the All Makes, it's the Brit part. Part number LR006374. So this is for the driver's side left and the USA left front window regulator. So that's the part number. All right, so we've got access. That one's a little close to the side bolt, so we got to undo these two bolts that releases the window from the regulator. So we've got the window taped up. It came off the regulator easy, and these bolts are 8mm. So, in fact, let's take a look at these. These are 7mm. So it's 1, 2. Loosen up this one. 3. Loosen up this one up here. And take this one off. Okay, so we've got the new one out here. We got the old one. We just took off the 3 Torx bits. So we're going to move this one over so everything stays in the same orientation. And move the motor to the new one. All right, so none of the other videos show, but it looks like it's probably a good idea to take this little piece off and transfer it over. So we'll do that now. Before you go, remember to take off these 2 bolts. These are the ones that don't get totally removed, but are in the slots on the door. Whoops. Now, we're going to probably just put a little bit of grease on the gears, just for good measure. Try not to make too much of a mess. And go back to the install. All right, so it was the gear. I was able to get another gear, but if you see on this one, all this is cracked. So these can go bad. So it'll go up and down, but once there's a little load on it, it just doesn't work. So you can replace the gear if you have to. It's probably easier just to replace the whole thing, but I was able to source just a gear. So the window regulator that I had was still good. Usually these nylon rollers, but they were still good. So job done, got it all done. Okay, so lessons learned. If you ever have to take this piece off, put it back on before you put the door panel back on, the interior door panel. It's almost impossible to get these in the right position. I struggled that for a while. Last time I took off this door panel, I was never able to put this on correctly. So make sure this is on, this top piece is on before you put the door panel. Unplugging the electrical connection for the motor, it's easier just to push this in and that'll give you access to unplug it. It's a lot easier to unplug it right there, and it's not that hard to put this back into place. The other thing is everything is a 8mm bolts. So you got the 4 you have to take off, two that disconnect the window to the window regulator, two that just loosen up for the window regulator, and the 4 you remove. So those are all 8mm. And if this thing comes off when you're putting the window back down, that is the orientation. Let me see if I can get a look in there. A little difficult to see, but the thing goes straight back in. Hope this helps. All right, so mission accomplished, everything works. I think if you pull this up just a little bit, just to get it on the door panel underneath it, and then you can stamp it down, but definitely get it in place. Don't try to do this afterwards. That definitely helps. All right, so the passenger side has always made this sound. When you go all the way up, so I think we're going to fix that. So we're going to take off 2 screws here, 4 screws down here, 1 screw right here. So it's a total of 7 screws. And then we'll pop it up. We'll pop off the panel. So the passenger door, obviously this has been replaced before, but obviously this is broken, so that was our problem. So we're going to replace this one too. All right, here's another little tip. All these screws holes, you have to get the screw in there, but then there's a hole deep in there to get it aligned. If you use just a little bit of caulking or silicone, just a tad, it'll make it so the screw doesn't fall off your screwdriver and you can find the hole. So good little tip there. Hope this helps. Okay, here's another little tip. When you're taping back the plastic, you're gonna see a line right here and you're gonna like, oh, I can just tape all the way to that line, but it's really where the holes are for these little Christmas tree studs. Don't go all the way to this farther line, it's going to be exposed. So just stay right here. The line you got is really not that much farther out than these little studs. So here's the lesson for this project. If your window is not going up and down properly, you've got 2 choices. I think either buy the window regulator with the new motor, because that's going to come with the new gears that come with the motor. If you just want to buy your parts first, tackle this all one day, take off the door panel, remove the window regulator, put the new one back in, with the new motor, plug everything back in, put it all back together. You can do it, within an hour. If you want to do it a little cheaper, remove everything and then inspect it. But the lesson learned here is it's not necessarily the window regulator. It could be those gears that are associated with the motor. So you can't buy those gears separately, but you can buy the motor separately that comes with that gear assembly. So I think if I had to do it again, I would just buy the window regulator with the brand new motor with all the gear assembly and just be done with it. And that would make things a lot easier.